The title, the title, the title of our workshop is Interactive Digital Portal for Actions, Tools, and Living Labs. And I will start it, but we will be co-hosting it together with Mate because Mate is basically responsible for the implementation of Interactive Digital Portal. And of course, he is the expert and guru of Living Labs. And that is
expert and guru.
You are. You are.
Go too far.
Because I think it's a nice method, and we have to use everything if we want to implement environmental measures, as they are not so easy and so simply to implement, even if we know what we have to do. Right, our agenda is foreseen for 2 hours, and I think we will just go as it will go as it will go, and we will have discussion at the very end. I will present very shortly the final output of the VP to the local participatory toolbox. I will not go very deep into the content. That will be only overview. And if you have any remarks, questions, it's the latest version is available on WaterDrive website. Then we will look at the local participation digital portal, which is under construction, and I hope Mate will tell us what is it and what we are expecting from it. And this is a good chance to discuss how to improve it, how to make it operational, how to make it usable. Then we will listen to the collective startup meetings in Denmark in support of interactive digital solutions by Sebastian from Segas. Then Anders from WaterDrive will reflect about the personal contact in environmental projects and digital contact, how it works with farmers. Then Mate and users and digital portal, and a little bit about Living Labs. That will be already start of the discussion. If you have questions, so please raise your hand after the presentation, preferably after the presentation, unless you really feel like you want to interrupt and you want to say something. You may also use the chat. I will be following chat, and I will ask questions. And of course, I will appreciate if you will be raising your hand. That will be easier. Right, any suggestions, remarks, anything to include in the agenda, or may I start? No objections, no raising hands. And let me start. Well, the local participatory toolbox. I will not tell us a long story how it was started by Francesca and her team. Earlier, we have now the second version, and basically it's based on what was developed in the first version. The main goal, what we aim with this tool, we want to inspire, we want to make the cross-sectoral work for local management better, and of course to somehow to help for the collaboration process among wide variety of stakeholders, because water management goes beyond those who are directly involved in water management, and we have to involve as many interest groups as possible if we want to achieve results and to achieve sufficient results and to achieve improvements in the environment. And it might be used in any other fields. Of course, it's not only for water management. Of course, it's not only for the meetings with farmers. We have collected we have screened number of different participatory methods, and of course, not all are included And of course, you are allowed to use any other methods as well. But this is just a guide, and we hope that the authorities, farmers, landowners, and rural communities will be finding hints, will be finding advices, and will be finding methods on how to make the life easier, how to run process more smoothly. I found in Social Pinpoint website, actually, because I'm till the last minute I was updating and then looking for new methods until the last minute when the tool was placed on WaterDrive website. And I found really interesting 6 reasons why we need public participation. Of course, you all know that, but I will just repeat that because I think public participation is somehow, everybody thinks that it will happen on its own. And it's most important to set up meeting agenda, to invite people. And nobody thinks that it's an art. And there are many different ways how to build this understanding, because the understanding between different parts is essential. It gives an aspiration. And this is how you may really learn about needs, because some groups might be silent. And those different perspectives might be very helpful when we're making decisions. And it makes process more transparent, because otherwise most of the participants feel like it's not my process, I don't know about it. And community engagement may prevent a lot of opposition whenever something it's started to be done, and that's quite often happens when we're talking about any change in the landscape or any installment of certain equipment. It creates, of course, the sense of ownership, but the most important for me, it's the 6th reason, it's to have fun. It's to have fun and together to understand the reasons why we're doing the project or why we are implementing certain actions, but also to enjoy the process. And I hope those collected methods may really help to have fun. So I would advise to read it and to use certain methods, to find your own way how to adapt it to your local situation and to enjoy it. The principles of participation, they have been designed also a long time ago. This is not my invention. This comes from the OECD guidelines on public participation. And that's, of course, also very important to keep when doing meeting. You will find a lot of principles. You will find a lot of different advices for different stages in public participation in the guide. And depending on the purpose of your meeting, depending on the phase, you really may get some hints. It's available on WaterDrive website. This is a 2nd version, as I've mentioned, and please use it. Please share it, and please give any remarks, suggestions for the version number 3, for which we still have some time. The participation is divided into 4 phases. It's a planning phase, it's a preparatory phase, planning phase, implementation phase, monitoring, and evaluation phase. We have agreed that those phases are the same as in the leadership manual, so that it would be easier to find the hints not only on participation but also on leadership, and that will be very helpful for the digital platform, I hope. This is just, I will not be reading, and I will not go through all methods, but many methods might be used in the same phase, in different phases, so they are not exactly for one phase. There is a table where you can find the list of methods. It's 30 methods described in the toolbox, and And altogether, we have around 60 pages for participatory toolbox. But don't worry, you don't have to read from the very beginning. You can just take, for instance, the method called 5 whys and 5 times to ask why, if you want really to understand why you are doing certain thing. This is a very simple method. And of course, there are some more complicated methods like 6 thinking hats method. This is more, this method probably needs a little bit more reading. And after every method, you will find, not every, but after every more complicated method, you will find a link to read a little bit more, because some methods are not so, they're described in a similar, the volume of the description is very similar for every method, and some methods are more complicated, some are less, but more complicated, they have a link. The planning phase, that's probably the most rich phase with the methods, because it really needs the biggest involvement of different stakeholders. The implementation phase, it differs very much depending on the project, what you're implementing, but those are most suitable methods to be used in an implementation phase. And of course, evaluation and monitoring phase, well, the easiest one is probably the one-dot voting, where you can just write the points and vote it, but also you may use a nice method like rows and form and but method, where you can discuss the process, where you can analyze it. So please use them. And how shall we use them? I think that depends very much on all of us. And of course, it depends very much on digital platform, how it will be connected, how easy it will be to use. I'm pretty sure that this is not the only one participatory toolbox, and even not the only one participatory toolbox for water issues. There are a lot of them. So it depends on us how unique it will be, how it will be used, and we still have 2 months for that. So here my presentation ends. Any questions, comments, remarks? Not at the moment. Right. So then the digital portal for local participation and action planning in CDR. Maciej, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. So right now I will tell you some more details about our idea of the toolbox, the internet toolbox. The first thing which I want to mention is for whom we are preparing this portal, because I think it's important. So first of all, this is the list of audience of our toolbox. So we choose like 7 different kinds of audience: local government leaders, agricultural advisors, catchment officers, of course, specialists from the non-governmental organization, agricultural leaders, and local specialists willing to make a difference in the field of water, and special planning specialists, of course. So this is the first thing which we have to remember, that this idea was created, is creating actually, because it's still preparing, as Odron just mentioned. And the next things what I would like to show you is our first idea about how it can works. how it can help us. And the first idea is about planning toolbox, which is already working, and you can use this this portal actually on the website. There is a link for this first kind of toolbox actually, and as you see, this toolbox is concentrating on the goals from work package 3.3. So this is just one part of our final toolbox, but I think that it's important to see this methods and this idea, because this is a part of our final website, toolbox website. So you have on this toolbox couples interesting solutions, and you can choose this searcher to choose four kinds of type of the solution. So you can choose what level this solution you want to find, national or regional or catchment level. Next step, you can choose, for example, for whom this solution it will be. So user of the solution, type of tool. So what kind of solution this can you can find the information, and what kind of problem it will solve. And this is, of course, I think it's not the end of the list, but it is strongly connected with the solution which on work package 3.3 our partner collect. So I hope that if if you will send us more solution, we can show this all your experience on the web. So if you choose some, you can see that it's right now it's working. And so this is the details about the solution. So you have some principles of the solution, and of course description. And description is built on the three kinds of the information. So first of all, the challenge of description, and the second is description of the solution, and the third part is about possibility of adapting the solution. So you have also some links to have more details, to find more details about this kind of solution. And this is something which is, as I just mentioned, ready, and you can use this this toolbox, but it's just a practical toolbox from the spatial point of view. So the next step of our idea was to create a toolbox which will achieve more goals for us. So first of all, we want to put together three kinds of information. Yeah, so leadership manual and local participatory toolbox and planning toolbox as a good practices around the Baltic Sea region. So the content of leadership manual is created by Magnus Linkus, and we already have a final version. So as you see, we can put some graphs from this this report from Magnus. Local participant toolbox is what just Odron inform us that it was created in the first step by Francisca with her team, and the second step it is correct by Odron, and right now we have final version of local participant toolbox, and the third part of our new website of toolbox is about the planning toolbox with good practices. So we connect these three levels of creating a real changes, a real solution in the water field, because if we don't have idea how we can create the group and how we can become a leader, we can take info from the leadership manual. And if we have a group of people and institution and the stakeholders which can help us to solve, who can help us with to solve the problem about water in the field, we can check what kind of methods we can use, and this is what we can find on local participant toolbox. And if we want to be inspired and to see what is the final version of our steps which we want to take on the field with the water management in agriculture point of view, you can inspire by planning toolbox. This is the idea. This is the main idea. And how we want to show this, because right now, as you see, I just can show you this graphs, and this is the idea of the first page. It should look like this. So we have all these three kind of information. So if you choose the participatory toolbox, you will have the searcher, and this is just a graphic. So I will just can not show you, but just told you about that. You can choose this description of solution, like geographic scope, like level of stakeholders, public, object of application of methods, and you will and the page will suggest you. I'm sorry, and the page will suggest you which of these methods will be the best for you. It will change the bigger and the smaller one. So the bigger it will be, the mostly ready for you to use. If you will choose this kind of idea what kind of methods you will need. And this is the page which will show the details of these methods. It's the content of Francisca reports and Odron reports also. So you have the name, short description, and long description, and engage actors, and results and products of the method of application. So you will have all kind of information which we collect on these reports. I show you the third part. So this is planning toolbox with practices. So I think I don't have to right now once again tell about this, because you saw just a moment how it works. So this kind of information will be implemented also. And local participatory toolbox, the leadership manual, will also show on this website. It is a long article actually, so we put the 4 part of this article which Magnus create for us, and you can see all the details about this leadership manual, and how to make steps to achieve the real change in the water field. So, in my point of view, on this website, you can create all the steps, and you can find the answer how to manage actually some projects, some changes on the water field. If you have time to see this information and to learn how to make it in the best way. So that's all from me from now.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, comments from the audience? Actually, I have one question. If nobody is raising, or Stefan, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, thank
yes,
you.
please.
Thank you very much for very nice presentations. I have Maciek, I wonder if you are, let's say, an outsider, you don't know about WaterDrive, but you are interested in participation processes, and you use Google to search on participation processes. Will you? How does that function? I don't know actually, but will you get into this toolbox that way, or do you have to search on words like toolbox, or how do you get directly from Google into the content of the toolbox?
Okay, I can try to explain. The idea of Google is to find the best line of words which you are looking for, and these words have the name of the tags. So we will, during this creating of this portal, this toolbox portal, all this main information like the name of the methods and the name of this participatory, all these important words we will create as a tags, so it will be easier for Google to find it. Second thing, to make a good position in Google is to connect this page, this participatory toolbox portal, with another pages where the people are trying to find some kind words. So it will be very important for our consortium to put this website, to put the links between, for example, SLU University and from, for example, SEGES, or for example, CDR Brwinów, to this portal. And it will help to put this information, this content higher on the Google searcher. And the third thing is, of course, to use money, as always, is connect something with money. So you can create an advertising to put this this information higher on the Google. But I think that we don't have in this project such a budget. So maybe we will create in the next steps such a challenge to help the people to find this information from our toolbox. So this was not actually the challenge to put this on the Google search, but it will be organic create, because this content is very nice. Actually, it's a very good creating by all these people, all our consortium, and I think that we can like in 2 or 3 months from the start of this website, we will see where is the position in Google search. I hope I answer for your question, Stefan.
Yeah, absolutely, Maciek. And so this is kind of knowledge that you have to make sure that the content actually is visible in a broader sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but as I'm just mentioned, we will create as much as we can the best position, but we don't have a budget to create a advertising idea. So this is we will make a good tax, and I think that it will help a lot. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I have a question. Do I understand right that we have separately planning tool, participatory toolbox, and then leadership manual? And actually, from the content point of view, they will not be connected. So if I will be searching for the certain particular planning phase, that will not get me to the leadership manual, certain place, because they are separate creations, so to say. Am I right?
Yes. We have the same question yesterday, because yesterday we create a small workshop by the people who are involved in to create this this website with CDR Grinov, the agency which they choose to create this website, and the Fino Horizon team also. And we have such a idea also, how to show, for example, the connection between these 3 kinds of information, these 3 kinds of toolboxes and manuals, actually. And right now, actually, we can put one more position, one more information during the good practices, on the good practices part, which kind of methods the people who was involved in these practices they used. So I think that this is a kind of answer for your question. So also we can put these methods and make them to be as a link to our methods, to the toolbox with the method description of the methods. So I think that this is the first idea of connection. But also I have some thoughts that maybe we can show the graph how this 3 kinds of information can help us to make a good project, actually, create the phase which you just mentioned. So maybe I should follow this idea, because if you ask the same thing which yesterday we are talking, so I think that it's important. So I think we can prepare such a graphic to connect this mainly information from the leadership manual from Magnus, these methods together. So we'll have 2 kinds of connection, like methods in the good practices and leadership manual with the methods. What do you think about this?
Yes, I do agree, because if to take the first option, to have a links in the description of good practices, I think it still needs a lot of intellectual work, because you may use you have to use the same titles, the same participatory methods might be called differently. So it's basically a lot of content work. So you have to thoroughly to understand how to connect it with leadership manual or with participatory toolbox. And while writing good practices, probably then that was the time when we could do that. But maybe if there is clear indication, maybe that's also possible if one or the other method or some leadership processes were very much visible and very successful. I think it's worth also to make some links. But the graph would be excellent.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, wishes? Okay, then probably thank you, and I'll go back to the agenda shortly. So the digital platform is under construction, and let's have a look at the collective startup meetings in Denmark in support of interactive digital solutions. What are used by SAGAS, and what's the experience in Denmark? Sebastian, are you ready?
Yes, I am. I'll just try to share my screen.
Yes.
Does it show anything?
Yes, we see.
Yes.
Great.
Just make it in the PowerPoint slideshow mode.
Yeah, it is on my second screen, unfortunately. One moment. I'll just try to share my other screen then. Yes, can you see my big screen now? Great.
Excellent.
Great. Okay. Hello everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to come and give you a presentation on our concept collective startup meetings and the supportive interactive digital tools we have used in Denmark. My name is Sebastian Sago, and I work as a GIS specialist here at SAGAS, which is also known as the Knowledge Center for Agriculture in Denmark. And I am the substitute for Frank Bundgaard, which I assume many of you know through this project. I'll just switch my screen off while I present. I hope that's okay. Yes.
That's fine. Yes, we can see.
It doesn't shift my slides. That's too bad. Only on my second. You can still only see the front
we see
slide.
The front slide, yes.
That's too bad. I'll just try to shut it down and start it over again. So
here it goes. Thank you.
When is okay? Today's agenda is to give you a short background information on the implementation of environmental measures and the land consolidation status in Denmark, just to give you an idea of what we're working with and what I'm working with. And then I will try to come into this topic about catchment-based approach and hence the concept collective startup meetings, and then to get around which kind of digital solutions we have developed for supporting this catchment-based approach and our collective meetings. So Denmark has just recently launched two major aims, one on greenhouse gas emission and one on reduction of nitrogen loads to coastal areas. And the one aim is to set aside 1,000 hectares of carbon-rich lowlands areas. And the second one is to reduce nitrogen loads with 1,500 tons by implementing collective measures such as constructed wetlands, forestrations, and restored wetlands. And compensated set-aside and free land conservation are the main drivers for achieving these two goals. Just to elaborate what is what do I mean by collective measures is that it can be like constructed wetlands, which is a single landowner project, restored wetland, which is usually a multiple landowner project, integral buffer zone, which is not governmental approved yet, which is also a single landowner project, and cutting of drain, which is a lowland carbon-rich organic soil project, which it can be both single owner or multiple owner projects. So I will talk short about the traditional Danish process regarding restored wetlands and land consolidation. And this is applied to all kind of wetland types. It usually starts with a property study where a facilitator or project owner goes around to each single farm or landowner to get insight in what does he want. Does he want to sell land, buy land, maybe swap lands, or sell and have the buyback options? And yeah, the Danish state can also own land if no one is interested in having the land after it's become a nature or restored wetland. And that is followed up by a technical study in order to investigate what is the level, water level before and after the project is realized, and it is regarding the nitrogen and phosphorus and the climate effect. And what happens in a land consolidation is that there's a meeting in the field between the farmers and a project owner from the government in order to visit all fields in the project area to see which one is more valuable and which is less valuable. And what happens is that it makes a map ranging from, I think it's from 10 to 100. So the 100 is the fields with the highest value, and the 10 is the fields with the lowest value. And this is taken in considerations when you have to swap lands and perhaps the state have to buy some land or sell you some land. This is very crucial for the whole process. So before and after, yes, before and after a wetland managing project, perhaps you get how do we say that? Yeah, a single landowner perhaps gets more soil close to each other, and it's more optimal for the whole catchment. And this is only regarding nature project. It could also be that a project on reducing infrastructure cost. So what we're working with in Denmark and SEGES is to have this more catchment-based approach on land consolidation and restored wetlands, and also other environmental measures. And we can come up with this concept about a catchment plan, where we looked at what we call ID15 catchment, and ID15 means a hydrological catchment no larger than 1,500 hectares. And we look at a single catchment and look into where is the optimal locations for constructed wetlands, where is the optimal location for restored wetlands. And how we do that is by using Skalko Live. Perhaps some of you know it. I know it's now for use in both Poland and Sweden. And it's a key factor for our catchment plan, because we can use it to predict drainage pipe location and to predict drainage pipe outlets. And the Danish catchment officer uses very much to estimate how big the catchment is to the constructed wetlands, and to predict where to look for drainage pipe outlets. Yeah, and it's an online tool, and it's based in Denmark on the Danish digital elevation model from 2018. So the collective meetings uses this GIS or this Skalko Live tool to make what we call a basic map for each catchment. And we combine the Skalko Live flow pattern and governmental potential map for both constructed wetland and restored wetlands, along with our own landowner database we have. And then we can identify on a catchment based which landowner have the highest potential for making constructed wetlands, or which landowners that's having soil or fields in areas that are suited for restored wetland projects. And we use it to make these maps. where you can see the red is the low organic soils, which is suited for wetlands, and the green dots are the one that are suited for constructed wetlands. And the numbers is indicated how big the catchment is to the constructed wetland in hectares. So in regarding to the collective meeting, the step is that the municipality, perhaps some of you have heard it before. I know Mads Lægaard Madsen has presented some of it to you, but I'll just go quickly over it one more time. So the first step is to have a meeting between the municipality, the agriculture advisory service, and perhaps the nature agency, in order to look at the catchment and to clarify whether or not the municipality have some plans with the land. Perhaps they have plans about forestation, restore wetlands, and so on. And it's very important that there's clarity between the agricultural service, the facilitator, and the municipality before going out to the landowners and talk about possibilities. Because the second step is to meet between the facilitator, agriculture advisory service, and the landowners to look into the possibility in the catchment. Yeah, and then the first step is to make the application in the end of this process. So just to look more into what do we mean when we talk of collective startup meetings, is to assemble 5 to 15 landowners in a small catchments and discuss possibility for implementation of the environmental measures. And the agenda is usually that there's an invitation from the local farmer union president, and then there's a brief broad information on what possibility is there for making the application for environmental measures. And then they start to look into this map and start to draw where is the pipeline, where could the possible solutions be, and perhaps they just bring the knowledge onto the table. So we at SEGES was thinking of perhaps how could we make some digital tools that could easen or perhaps fasten up the process of land consolidation, and perhaps also some of the other environmental measures regarding the collective meetings. So we have this aim of develop a tool that helps the facilitation of collective meetings and have easy access for farmers to participate in a project with the environmental focus, and also to give an overview of farmers and wishes which could be in a project area. So we looked into we wanted to have a tool that is widely used by our farmers today. And we have this homepage named Landmand.dk or Farmer.dk, you could also say. And this is very popular by our farmers, and many have this like their startup screen when they open up their browsers. They just see Landmand.dk, and we have it's owned and operated by us, and we have visits from more than 20,000 farmers a year, and we have 2,000 unique visits a day, and everybody that wants can sign up. And it makes it possible for us to communicate to the farmers through what we call the central business register. The central business register can we combine with when you apply for funding for your fields, what in Danish is called grundbetaling. So we know which farmer owns or which farmer operates which fields. And it makes us possible to make target these analysts. For instance, we can say you have an opportunity for engaging a constructed wetland project, or perhaps restored wetland project, or that you have to grow catch crops in order to reach the larger catchment goals. So this is what we have developed so far. And this is what we call land consolidation tool. And what the farmer can see is the blue color is his own field, and then he can press his field, and he can indicate whether what does he want to do with his own field. Does he want to sell it? Want to swap it? Does he want to have it set aside and get compensated? And how large of the proportion is at stake, the whole field, or perhaps just some of it? And then he can make remarks for which kind of project he's interested in, or other kind of remarks. But he can also press other people's fields, and he can indicate what do I want to do with this field? Do I want to buy it? Do I want to swap it? How large? Yeah, again, how large of the proportion? And then you can make remarks again about the field. So what we see is that the future setup for collective startup meeting and the whole process of making environmental measures in Denmark is that you start and do the GIS journalists and making the relevant maps. You take a meeting between the municipality and the agricultural service, the facilitator, project leader. And then you go and make the startup meeting between the facilitator, the farmers union, and the landowners in a small catchment. And then when every possibility is on the table and the meeting is finished, then the landowners can think about what he has heard and feel in his stomach, do I want to engage in this project, and perhaps which fields would be part of the project in the long run, and perhaps what other fields could I be interested in. And then the facilitator can get an overview of all the indications from the landowners in the project, and he can start to solve the puzzle to see, can we have a wetland project here, or what should we do? And we will also, in the longer run, next year and the next year after, perhaps look into what happens if landowners gets knowledge about what each other want, because today is a process that is very secret, that what the landowners are indicated in regarding wishes and sell, buy, and stuff like that. And that's also why it takes very long time to do land consolidation, because everything is very secret and there's only one person who has all the knowledge, so you could be interested to see what happens if the landowner gets knowledge about each other wishes. So perhaps we could get the process of land consolidation, wetland restoration, and so on, an easier process and more fast process. So, and then, yeah, the last thing is to make the applications for the relevant environmental scheme. Yes, thank you for your attention. That was my presentation of this supportive interactive tool.
Thanks a lot, Sebastian. Any questions? Comments? Zander is raising the hand, please.
Good morning. I wanted to ask a question to Sebastian. What is the farmers' attitude to this process, and are they they are looking through digital tools, and how they are accepting these new ideas about land consolidation and then giving away the land?
Yeah. Is this the question regarding land consolidation as a concept, or is it about the tool?
About both, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there are two activities supporting or very closely connected.
Yeah, they are. Let me take land consolidation first. I think as long as it's free and they have a win, perhaps they don't have to drive that long to get to the field, then it's okay. But they don't want to be in any worse situation. So yeah, it can be ups and downs. And regarding the tool, we haven't really launched it yet. We plan to launch it in the show during the next month, and we are very, very excited we are very, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how the farmers are willing to use this tool. But what we have heard is that the local advisories think is very useful for them to have, because then they can start to get this overview. And it's also that the farmer doesn't have to tell anybody what he wishes are. He only have to tell it to the project leader. I hope that was okay answered, Sander.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Yes, I think GIS information, it's really very helpful. And yes, and now let me see, there is another hand. Maciej?
Yeah, but I think that Stefan was
Yes.
before me.
Okay, Stefan. Stefan, please.
Okay, thank you. I was curious about this land valuation process. Who is valuating the land? And from what criteria do you evaluate it?
Yes. I'm not an expert on this topic, but I can. What I know is that it's actually the farmers themselves that values the land in cooperation with a governmental representative, and it doesn't matter where you are in the country. The land is always going from 10 to 100. So it's a sandy soil, clay soil, good soil, bad soil. It doesn't matter. It's just relatively how they are independent. So they agree on where is the good land and where is the bad land. And that can also be a long process too.
And a follow-up question, Sebastian, do you, after you have implemented the wetland, some people say that the value of that land is higher after doing this good thing for nature than it was before. How do you consider that?
Okay, we always work with the agenda that the land is a lower value.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that how it is in Sweden, that the land is more value?
I mean, the thing is that what we have discovered maybe or looked into, and Kai Granholm, I think, is participating here also, has more information about that. But if you have poor agricultural land,
yeah,
turn it into a nice wetland nature protection area will actually increase the value of the farm as a whole.
Yeah, like a whole, but I don't think the Danish farmers look into the whole. I just think they looked into the bottom line and what the bank is saying. So I don't. Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but I haven't. Yeah.
But Sebastian, you might turn out you have this farm with the fantastic agricultural land, and then you have fantastic nature protection areas all together. That farm will be higher valued on the market after this.
I agree that if you have a combination of nice nature and a lot of good land, then it can raise the value of the whole farm, and that is also something that we are seeing more and more. That when the stake, or how do I say that, brokers are selling properties, they value that they perhaps have 1 or 2 or 3 environmental measures that the farm is engaging in somehow. So yeah, in that sense, that is correct. But on the single lot, on the single field, I don't think that's higher value. But as a whole, for the whole farm, I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maciej. Maciej and then Zanda.
Yeah, I just have one short question, maybe two questions. What was the budget of this tool which you created, and who was involved? What kind of institution? Who was the leader, and what is the process of create this web online tool?
Yeah, I have the budget in kroner, so I just use my old-fashioned calculator. Around 50,000 euros does it cost to develop this tool, and it's actually our own digital department that has developed, because we have this Landman DK solution already in the house. And I can also just add a comment to this Landman DK. For us, is a very new thing that that the landowners have a tool where they can indicate what they want, what they have. They can put information on the single field, and it can be used in many other situations, like how much do I value my single field, also kind of registration history, and stuff like that. So I think it would be a tool just not for land consolidation, but also for making more interesting analysis regarding finance, law, and stuff like that at SIGS.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Zanda.
Yeah, I still wanted to ask about this land consolidation. When you are installing some wetlands or first stations, then there is then land is undergoing all this official process of legal transformation, and it is not anymore agricultural land, and which is donated to these environmental measures. And then what happens, for example, in Latvia, we have these land taxes every year we have to pay for the land we use. And then what is about all these legal aspects for this land which is transformed?
So you think of what happens with the land when it's transformed from agricultural fields to nature. Yeah. I know that I'm not sure if they pay lower taxes, but for having like it's wetland, they get paid through compensated through an environmental scheme. So they get a small compensation each year. So they don't have to how to say that, to have money out of their pockets to keep it like nature. It's just going into an environmental scheme, and I think it runs for 20 years or something like that. They get a small amount each year for having this as a wetland. But they still have, I think they still have to pay some taxes too.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, Sebastian. Is this altogether a voluntary process on behalf of the farmers?
Yeah.
Let's say you have 10 farmers going together, but you have one farmer objecting.
Yes, it's very much voluntary. In Denmark, one farmer can block the whole project, and that's just too bad. I think in Holland it's more like on consensus. So if there's 2 or 3 that is not agreeing, then it's too bad for them. But yeah, in Denmark it's voluntary. But you can say that in Denmark you have 2 choices. You can go into a project with restored wetlands or constructed wetlands, or you are obligated to have more catch crops on your fields, and that's obligated by the state. So you get fined if you don't do it. So yeah, there's a strong drive behind going into these projects, and the Danish farmer knows that they have to do something.
So they can select between this, those 2 different options.
Yes, they can, but it's more financially beneficial to go into having a wetland or constructed wetlands. Yep.
Thank you very much for the answering questions. Looks like the consolidation and all the information based on GIS, they're very, very much connected, and only, well, it may facilitate processes. So the digital things are important. If we don't have any more questions to Sebastian, then I would thank you very much. And then we would go to the digital versus personal contact. Anders, please.
Hello, thank you. Do you hear me?
So you may share a screen.
Yeah. Hello.
Well, while you are opening the screen, I will read. I see that Kai Granholm wrote in the chat that on nature
Do you
and
see?
life. Sorry.
Do you see now?
Well,
Can you?
I will stop then. Please give your presentation, then I will comment on Kai.
Can you see the screen?
No, not yet.
No. And now?
No.
See.
That we can see.
Okay.
Yes. Please make a slideshow. Yes, slideshow mode. And yes, we see. Thank you.
Yeah. Anders Fröberg is my name. I work as water coordinator in the Västervik municipality. And I am going to talk about digital and personal contact reflections on that in environmental project with farmers. We, as you know, I think we had for almost 10 years now had an organization with a catchment officer at the local level in the municipality. And thanks to that, we have very close contact with the farmers and landowners, and very close contact with the local authorities too. And we have a financing by state funds, but also from municipality for this. And we are helping the farmer with everything from planning to implementation of measures. So we have initial dialogue with meetings in groups with the farmers union, bigger meetings, and then we have meetings one by one in field with the farmers, and we are making local plans together with the farmers how to find different measures. And we are helping with the financing of measures to apply for state funds. And we're helping with designing different measures too, and the permissions from authorities, and also with the implementation, like a project, help with project managing, you can say. So we think we have to meet the landowners, the farmers in field. We saw from Denmark that they have it seems to be a nice system with tools, but we don't have that yet in Sweden. But we have a lot of information, digital information, and we have to bring it out to the farmers in field. And almost all communication is by personal meetings in field. And the advisor introduce the farmers to the digital information, sometimes with the phone or iPad, because the farmers, they are using computers, but they are not so good at it. They can handle computer, but they want to work with their hands and with the machines on the field, and they're not so interested in finding information by the computer. So we have to show them what do we have, what kind of digital information and what kind of analysis do you have to do, like soil mapping on the left here, and to the right detailed elevation level, and information like historical maps is very important too, and maps of high natural values and cultural values, as you can see on the right. So together we look at this information in field, and here you can see information of the water system, the streams, lakes, bays, what is the status with are they eutrophicated or not. And to the right we have maps like the nutrient load in certain areas from phosphorus and nitrogen. So with this information, we listen to the farmer, what does he or she has, and together we are making a local plan, digital information and the local information. Sometimes the farmer can make a map like this, but not, often we have to help them with this too, to point it out on the map, where can they make measures like structure liming. I think it's the white dots here, and two-step ditches, and the blue wetlands and phosphorus ponds, and filter ditches. I think it's the yellow here. So we can, in this case, we have kind of a digital I mean, the farmer created a map digitally and sent it to us, but most of the times we help them with this too. And in the end, the implementation of measures based on digital information, we can reach all the measures that we planned. So that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Anders. And I think we don't have any questions right now, but maybe some comments. Digital versus personal, or actually it was not versus. It's about the combination of those two methods, so that we have to keep both all the time. Any questions, comments? Stefan, yes, please. Stefan, you've raised the hand.
Sorry. Thank you, Anders. I know that you have been working as a spatial planner in the municipalities since long, and now you are working with the water issues. And I'm curious to know, what do you think about climate change? I mean, climate change is driving much of our, and will probably drive much of our water work in the future. How can is that integrated in your work now in WaterDrive, or do you think it will be in the future, and how can it be integrated?
Okay. We try to integrate climate change and climate adaptation in our work. We want to find a win-win solutions, and mostly we do, I think. It's very important part, but the state funds for measures for better water quality. It's based on stop the eutrophication, and hopefully I think in the future it will be more funds for climate adaptation and climate work, hopefully.
And a follow-up question then, Anders, do you think it will be, do you need any special GIS instruments or digital decision support to include issues of climate change?
Often I think it's the same GIS information, because it's the you are trying to delaying the water moving in the landscape, and when you're delaying it, it will release or stop the eutrophication, and you also get these climate adaptation effects. So I don't know, maybe we have the GIS information already, but maybe you have to make it clearer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan and Anders, for raising those questions about climate change. I think definitely the combination of technology and the combination of the emotional intellect are very important in decision making. But for the climate change decisions, the technical information is needed, and I presume that yes, we will need more and more technologies, more and more information for the right decisions and for the calculations, but not forgetting, of course, fun and all other things, isn't it?
I think the farmers, they think it's a very important question of climate adaptation, because they already seen it. It's longer dry periods in the summers, and it's more intense rains in the winter time and in the summer too when it comes. So yeah, it's very important.
Thank you, Anders, very much for sharing the experience. And now, if you would stop sharing your slides, I would share my screen. Thank you. Yes. As now we've gone through the Danish and Swedish experience and potential end users of the digital portal or any other methods that are used in decision making. Matti, I know that you was not able to get the farmers' advices on this meeting, but I hope you are ready to discuss a little bit about the experience in Poland. Matti?
Yes, yes, and I can show you the information, the presentation from our workshop, which we create in October this year. So it was just, you see the presentation? Can you see?
Yes, we do.
Great. In October, with CDR Brvinov, we create a workshop with 4 water advisors. And as you see, there are two workshops, actually. This one was the first, and this was the second one. And they are the advisors, water advisors from all around Poland, actually, from all wovenships. So these workshops have a great impact, and you just mentioned about the climate situation. So this is what we actually when we start on this workshops, this was the first step which we are talking about, and after this we try to figure out actually the phase of creation, some projects, some steps, and you see the water advisors were working about this topics, and they create some answers, some result of workshops. As you see, we have some nice friends here. And of course, we concentrate on the phase of the Living Labs method. And we try to show them how to best to use these methods and what kind of stakeholders you have in this Living Labs method. And as you see this phase, like the preparatory phase, analysis phase, goal setting phase, and co-creation phase, this is the main phase of the Living Lab. And I just prepared the information that when you put this leadership manual and methods of participatory toolbox and good practice from work package 3.3, you can also show the links between this this information, this knowledge, this toolbox, with this phase of living lab method and this phase of working together during weekend using this information from the website. So as you see, when we want to make the first steps like preparatory phase, of course you need to get the information from the field about this old system, water system, which is on this particular field. And after this, you have to build a team. So this is when the moment when you can start to use this information from Magnus. And when you are going deeper and make some analysis and make some diagnosis also, you start to using this method, this different methods. During Living Labs method, it is one of the biggest methods, but you can also use this smaller ones. So you will see on I hope in like our conference in which you will see what kind of methods you can use. We can of course, just Odron said that we have all this report on the WaterDrive website right now. It's available, so you can check it. And you on this phase, like on this the second steps, you can use this this idea. So after this, when you have to decide which is the main goal of this project, what you want to do on the field, you can still on this methods level. And when you want to co-creation phase, when you want to start the co-creation phase, you can inspire by our third part of toolbox. So this good practices around the Baltic Sea. So as in my opinion, the most important people who will be the end user are for sure water advisors, and of course also the citizens of every land, every field on which we will create the solutions. We will try to find some answers and create some project to make water management better.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So basically, there is probably a number of different methods for the developing a project, and the Living Labs. It's one of what you are using in Poland, and maybe during final conference we will hear more, and we will see how it works. I think that's experiencing that and seeing it. It's very important. Yes. You have, Maciej, you have said that most of our tools probably will be directly they aim to assist for water advisors, for agricultural advisors who are dealing with the water questions. Does everybody agree that probably this is one of our main target groups? Because they probably would be the ones who would be facilitating the process. However, what I've heard from WaterDrive experience, so it's municipality who has such an advisor within municipal structure. So it's not the state level, not the regional level as it is, for instance, in Poland and in Lithuania. So probably it doesn't matter where the advice is located. The most important thing so that they would be able to find our tool, to read it, to cooperate with all stakeholders, what Maciej you were showing, because this is not the decision of one specialist and even not of one landowner. We have still time for the discussion. Any questions, comments, points to be discussed?
I just showed that the list which we create,
Yes.
as you remember, John,
Yes.
on the beginning of this year, and I
Yes.
feel that yeah, maybe this is not the first one is not maybe the most important, like local government leaders. Maybe this is not numbers are so important, but I think that that I agree with you. And as we heard this Swedish experience, we should also put the local government and maybe regional government also on the very high level of this process.
Yes, and so basically the audiences and the target groups has to be informed about the outputs of WaterDrive project, and I think that's the task for every partner to be able to communicate and maybe even to facilitate translation process if there is need for the translation, because in many cases I think the local language would be more appreciated, but this was not foreseen in the project. So my question would be then for the participants, like how do you see all those developments of the WaterDrive, of those digital tools, digital manuals, digital toolboxes? How would you see the value of them, and how would you be promoting them within your context? Who would be your primary audience?
I think this is the question for our partners. Yes, as I'm correct.
This is the question for our partners or any participants who are in the meeting.
I see that we have Kai on the workshop. Maybe Kai, you can tell something about Finland point of view. What do you think? Who is the most important end user of this toolbox? So the Kai have some comments on our.
Kai is commenting more on the landscape impacts and agricultural land or farm value.
But we have Kai on the.
Thank you.
Yes, please, Kai.
Yes, I'm not really the right person to comment on the use of the toolbox. We are actually running this pathway dialogue in Finland exactly on the topic of both this catchment management as well as use of all digital data and decision support tools, and we are mapping the interest of different stakeholders to use this, and but it requires that there's the right kind of organization, right kind of governance structure established, so that the users of the data also have the users of the tools also have access to the data. The data is available and not hidden or not kind of undisclosed to some users. So
yeah, I do agree. The right governance
yeah,
structure and right data.
and we have not yet kind of identified the solution on what kind of service could it be. We have planners and we have in some cases even the regional government officials can act as intermediaries here and provide this kind of information. But yeah, I don't have a definite answer. But all these are very relevant to consider.
Yeah. And thank you for very relevant comments about the value. Any other comments? Questions?
Anders here.
Yes.
I think the most important, I think they are relevant, all of them, all 7 here, but the most relevant, I think, agricultural advisors, catchment officers, and agriculture leaders. So you have to do a lot of work to reach these persons, I think.
Okay, thanks. And maybe we can ask some point of view from Kaliningrad. Maybe Katerina Vorobieva, are you with us? Or maybe another person from Kaliningrad region. Some comments about what you think about the end users of this platform. For sure, we understand with Odron that it should be translated in the Russian language. It's obvious, yeah. But you understand our main idea, and you can make some comments if you want. Okay, so I think that we agree about what the most important end users from WaterDrive project point of view are. So I think that if Stefan wants to end some comments, it would be nice for us. Oh yeah, Stefan is just.
Yes.
Okay, this is the moment.
Well, actually, I have another question, if it's okay, Adrone. And that's Maciek, you mentioned this phase of your work when you formulate the objectives, goal or objective formulation. I'm coming from the academia, and usually we express objectives in 10 or 5 bullet points. But what is your actually? How do you work with? Is it like making pictures, the target picture for how the landscape will look like in the long run when you do your living lab work? How do you set the goals? Is it in bullet points or in maps, or how do you get people on board this goal setting? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Yeah, actually, we create this by during the workshops. We put this main goal, main challenge, And after we create in the groups this list of the most important idea, what should be done on this field, on this concrete field, we are putting this on the posters, and we decide together which goals are the most important. We just make if you have like 10 people, for example, you can use different methods. It depends on your culture. In Poland, I used to use just the voting, but the voting have special rules that if you have, for example, 10 people and you have, for example, 10 or 15 or 12, 20 main goal during our workshop, you can vote just 2 times. So every person can vote just 2 times. I'm using such a method, and it's better that everybody, from my point of view, as a creator of the workshop, because you have to choose just 2, and your decision is more, I can say, adult, more responsible, because if you have a lot of voting, some people are vote just for 1, some for 5, and it's not a good method, I think, and it's not a good idea to. So when you have the team of, for example, 10 person, you can I give them just 2 votes, and they can choose just 2 times when I'm writing the proposition of the main goal. So this is actually the final moment of this phase during the Living Labs method. So the goal setting phase. Yeah. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Another question to you, Androna. You showed in the beginning of the this very interesting workshop, you showed that there are several articles about different methods to implement participatory processes. Are they all proposing the same thing? Or are they different in some way? Are they going in different directions, or are all the different methods in principle along the main tracks that we have talked about here during today?
Well, if you mean different phases and the methods.
Yeah, I mean, you showed us in the beginning of the workshop, you showed us all different kinds of models.
Yes.
For participatory processes, but are they different in any way, or are they all going in the same direction that we seem to agree on during this workshop?
Yes, I think definitely. Definitely they depend very much on the local situation, because most of the methods, they're just methods, and whenever you use them in the living lab or within the other discussions, they might differ, but they all have the same goal to make certain decision, to reach certain consensus within different phases of the process.
I just, if I can add something, John, I just show the list of methods which we have in our toolbox. Yes, the method box. So local participatory methods. So if you see, Stefan, we create different different kind of information. What can this method help you? For example, to informing the people, to consulting the solution, to deciding together. yes, in the participatory way, to supporting action and to reflection and feedback. So each of method have a little different hint of way of solution. So the effects of this method will be different. So for example, when you take a walk and talk exploratory work, you can use this method if you want to inform, consult, deciding together, supporting the action and reflection of feedback. But if you want just to make some deciding together, you, for example, can use five why question. Yeah, you see, deciding in consulting. So this is the difference between these methods, and we collect this different in this Francisca and Audron document. And if you want to check what kind of reflection of this method it can help you, you will get this information by the portal. So I hope that we together answer.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any other comments or from any of the participants? Maybe you have a final comment, Audrona. I would just like to thank you very much for this workshop and the work you have been doing in WaterDrive, and the eye opener for me at least is how you have been able to connect the person to person, the collaborative mind with the digital technologies, and I think it's great work. And so thank you very much for that, and thank you for a very interesting workshop. So then I give the word to you, Audrona, please.
Yes, thank you, but I don't have very much to say, because for me it was also, I think I've noted for myself the Sebastian's remark that the knowledge is based on the data what we collect, and what Anders was saying from WaterDrive, that you have to combine the digital information and of course the local person, the visit in the field. And I think even though we've repeat something, maybe we didn't invent something completely new within this work. I think this is adapted to the water management, and I hope that it will be used by partners. So good luck and read it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Maciej, would you also want to conclude?
I just during our workshop in Poland, and when we were showing this participatory toolbox, I saw a very good enthusiasm for water management advisors. So I'm prepared that it will help a lot. This toolbox will help a lot for our country around the Baltic Sea, how to start work with some great project, because right now it's always connect with some academic institutional or some non-government organization. But I hope that after WaterDrive will show this material which we together create, it will have a bigger impact. So, for example, the citizens will show that it's not so crazy difficult to start to make some changes, some projects, and actually they will have all tools in front of the computer. So I hope that it will help a lot. And thank you for this today's workshops.
Thank you, all presenters. Thank you, participants, and see you in the other workshops.
Thank you, everyone, and Maciej.